Hello, everyone, and welcome to A Medium's World, day 8 of the series. I'm so honored to have Angel joining us here tonight in conversation. I'll be introducing her in just a moment and welcoming her to this forum, and of course, introducing her into your world as well. Before we begin, though, I just want to just express how meaningful each and every one of these conversations have been for me throughout the series. They're important conversations. I've heard back from several of you who are tuning in about the importance of bringing these conversations to the table, that no one really likes to talk about death. No one likes to talk about, the other possibilities or the challenges that we have between, at the life after someone has passed over. That these conversations alone are helping so many people in finding some peace and some ease and understanding in their healing journey through grief. So for me, that is what it's all about. I truly believe that mediumship is the most healing modality that there is, just simply because death being the most difficult and challenging that we as human beings have to, of the death of a loved one, of something that we have to deal with or struggle to reconcile after they are gone. And this creates this bridge between the physical and non-physical worlds that allows for blessing and healing and reconciliation and closure, and most importantly, some peace. And so I'm so glad to hear back, as I said, from so many of you, just sharing how supportive these conversations have been to your healing journey and helping you to recognize the signs and the ways that your loved one is already looking to interact or converse with you from the other side. So it's what it's all about for me, sharing stories, sharing experiences, and sharing in greater possibilities of what is available to us in the unseen worlds, and helping to open up and awaken that connection and that loving connection from those on the other side who reach back and want nothing more than to reassure you that they are well, that they are well, they are well. All right, before we dive any further, I'm going to invite you to close your eyes, take that sacred breath, fall into a natural rhythm just of your own body. There's no right or wrong way to breathe. There's just the willingness to surrender through every breath, to settle into the here and the now and the presence of what is holy and divine within you. I always look at these opportunities as a chance to have communion with the sacred, with the one who expresses deep within, the one that guides and holds and gives way for purpose of you, of me, and of everyone here in this world, where we allow the chaos and confusion of the outer world to dissipate, even just for a short period of time, where we can become more focused, more direct, more concentrated on what is an essence or feeling of deeper meaning and purpose for all of our lives. The very fact that we're breathing is purpose. The very fact that we are here is purpose. And the very fact that we get to express our light, get to express our unique ways of living and being in the world is what adds to this beautiful grandeur of tapestry, the tapestry of the universe, of the light of the divine. And as we breathe and fall into the rhythm of the sacred, that we begin to recognize and understand how each one of us is an important part of the world, an important piece of the puzzle, an important expression of the same one who breathes us all. Just give yourself this chance to dive deeper within than you've ever allowed yourself the chance to go before. To give yourself this space, this time to center, to still, to open your heart and open your mind beyond what maybe you've conceived or understood yourself to be, or even conceived or understood the world of a medium to be, or your place in the world as a medium. That through this breath and through this sacred space, that there is peace, that our cultures on earth be a culture of encouragement, of engagement, of wisdom, of community, of guardianship of the planet and of each other, for the spiritual benefit of all being. Let this be in the now. Let this be our future, so that it be the most blessed and beautiful vision of heaven on earth. That we can feel into and know that spirit is hovering, that the spirit of those who we love and who we are connected with between the physical and the non-physical worlds are a part of this world. And that it is possible to see, to feel, and sense this beautiful connection, these energetic song lines between worlds that weave along the pathways that are a part of the same tapestry within the universe. That from our heart, our longing, our seeking, our prayers, that we too create a song line that is unique and essential, that we are all a part of a collective of something greater, and that these song lines be the songs that are heard through the heavens, and that anywhere that they have been silenced or they've been dulled out, that they come into harmony to become the same. All the differences creating a full beauty of wisdom, of song, of light to emerge upon this earth. And how blessed are we as we can celebrate and know that each one of us is an important piece. And we have an important song, an important place. And that who we are and all that we offer into the world is enough. Lord, it's through the breath that unites us and through the breath that connects us and through the breath that we intertwine and are connected to the same one who guides and breathes us all. I'm going to invite you to take a really deep grounding breath, just breathing this in, allowing it to settle, helping to release any insecurity, fear, or doubt in your place in the world and your purpose in the world, allowing you to feel more confident, secure in your very existence. And for this and so much more, we say thank you, thank you, thank you. And so it is. Amen. I am the light I am. And with the next breath, invite you to drop that grounding cord from the base of your spine and letting it move deep into Mother Earth, grounding you here and securing your place of purpose, your purpose of being. Blessed be, blessed be. Oh my gosh, beautiful. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Oh my goodness, I'm really excited about tonight's conversation. Of course, I have Angel Doig, who is joining me here tonight. Angel is a bridge between worlds. She is a medium, and through her connections to the other side, really can help to offer guidance and direction as she tunes into the spirit world with angels and guides, and even has capacity to communicate and talk with an individual's higher self for the benefit of creating a life full of peace and of purpose and of joy. Angel, I am so, so grateful to have you here in joining me for tonight's conversation. Angel is a level 4 graduate of the program. So she's done all 4 certifications with me, and she currently holds a mentorship position for level 1 with my academy, as well as currently moving through some business mentoring, and I'm helping her to get her business off the ground by introducing her to the world. So Angel, I'm so glad to have you. If looking forward to, there you are. Here you come. There we go. And I'll just ask you to unmute your line and so that we can share in the conversation. Hi.
Hi, just 1 second.
Angel is a busy mama, a busy business owner, and a medium. She's got all kinds of different hats that she wears on a day-to-day basis.
Well, oh my goodness, I'm frustrated. I didn't test my camera, and I'm like, Brett, I hate the camera that's below. And he tested all for me. And I think they are laughing at me, those bastards. I just want to connect it. This is not my good angle.
You look beautiful as ever. So funny. This is not my good angle.
Oh my, what the heck? I just gotta laugh. I just got,
Yeah.
I'm starting.
Oh, there we go. And I
I'm
lost
starting.
you. There we go.
Hold on. Oh my gosh, I'm starting it.
So
Yeah.
good.
Oh
It's
well.
perfect.
Okay.
You're
But
perfect.
everybody, you get my humbled, horrible angle, and we're just gonna roll with
Sometimes it's so funny. I think that today it's so funny. Technology has had all kinds of hiccups today, not only for me, but some even my client sessions. And it just reaches a point where, and I know even in terms of some of the lives and things that I was scheduled to do, when technology is not cooperating, it just becomes this, I'm just going to flow with it. I'm going to allow it to be whatever it is, because the purpose behind it is bigger than what I can even understand. So it's all good, Angel.
No.
It's all good.
This is the one thing I didn't want to happen. All right.
Okay.
I'm over it. I'm over it. It's
Okay,
fine.
good.
See my chin and
That's right.
okay.
It's all good. You look perfect.
Thank
So,
you.
Angel,
Well,
oh my gosh, are you excited about this conversation? I know I truly am looking forward to sharing your story with everyone.
honestly, I was so excited. Like I haven't been able to sleep for like 3 days, and I just wanted to come on, and I'm like, she's gonna do her darn meditation. It's gonna ground me. I'm gonna be all grounded and calm when I'm like, I want to be up here, and I want to bring in the fun and just oh. Okay, well, I'm gonna backtrack and I'm gonna say thank you. Thank you for being you and your beautiful, kind words. Like I couldn't wait to see what you posted on Facebook because I wanted to see what you were gonna say about me. And I'm like, oh, it's beautiful.
Oh, I'm so
I couldn't
glad.
have
Well,
said it better.
everybody that I bring into these conversations, Angel, like truly holds a special place in my heart. And it's because, I look at to the people who have some really inspiring stories, who've been able to really overcome some challenges to find their way, but more importantly, that have shown just this dedication and commitment to being of service. And you are certainly one of them who has showed that time and time again, even through your training programs and things like that, where it seemed like you had a whirlwind of challenges sometimes through, and you continued to show up, you continued to follow through, you continued to be willing and available to be of service. And so that is truly, truly admirable. I'm really would love to share, Angel, with everyone. When did you first discover that you were a medium? Like, when did you start having your experiences with the spirit world?
Well, yeah. So can we go back and say how amazing these conversations are? Because like honestly, like we are connecting to the other side. Like, is this sinking in that we are connecting to the other side
Right?
outside of our five senses? And I
Yeah.
mean, that's a whole nother story. I think there's a whole shift in consciousness there. And
Yes.
it's not even a religious or a faith-based thing. It's just a happening.
Yeah.
But so when you say, okay, what was the question again? When did I become aware
Yeah.
of the spirit world?
When did you start having your experiences?
Okay. Well, first of all, I went and saw a medium. And I didn't like I was familiar with the word psychic. So it was a pivotal time in my life. I was going through a really challenging time, making decisions I didn't even realize I needed to make. I was going through a divorce. I was going through a divorce. I had 3 young kids. Yeah, it was a really crazy time in my life. And I went to a medium. I didn't know she was a medium. I just
Yeah.
went for this reading, and it wasn't, I didn't think it was I didn't know what it was. It didn't feel like a mediumship reading. They weren't connecting with my crossover loved ones per se.
Yeah.
But the way that she talked, I wanted to talk like that. Like she just, well, she would say, they are showing me this and they are telling me this. And I'm like, who are they? Who are they? But I like them a lot. And they seem to know my heart and they seem to know exactly what I need to hear.
Yes.
And so from there, it just took off. It's like I couldn't get enough of it. So I started taking classes with this lady, like just I think she called them spiritual classes, and I would learn about the different realms, and everything was so new and exciting, and it was a whole new world to me. And then I took Reiki. So I took some Reiki
Yeah.
classes. And then so I started like feeling energy. And I remember doing these little classes like where you'd expand your energy. And you kind of become friends with everybody. And so she's trying to feel my energy. And I remember I was expanding it. And she's like, stop that. Because it was like a bouncy balloon, like things that, and you like you're not even believing what is happening, right? You're like, is this real? Or so but and then I started like after that, it was like a desire. And so I would start knowing things. I was taking more classes, but again, I didn't fully recognize what I was even doing, that I was doing mediumship.
Right.
Like I, like I would just know things and they would be phenomenal, but it still didn't really fully sink in until I took your level 1
Hmm.
program. So
Yeah.
again, I phoned you. You told me to come to this weekend thing, and it just happened, of course, to fall into when I had time off for summer holidays.
Of
So I
course.
just went. I didn't, and like usual, this is just how I live, which is I didn't know what I was going to. As soon as I saw you, I wanted to hug you.
Aw.
And then you're like mediumship and you're like writing on the board. And I was like, what is mediumship? I don't even know
Doing here? What did I sign up for?
what, what is this? And yeah, so the very first, so consciously aware. So of course there's different ways that you feel spirit. So I just know things. So it's claircognizance. But
Yeah.
spirit showed it to me during this exercise. It was like one of our very first exercises. I think I've told it to you before or
Yeah.
said it once before, but it was a simple little exercise, and it was the first time I felt spirit. So I felt them physically, and it is so cool when you feel spirit physically.
Yeah.
So when you feel them in your body, like it, and it's a little overwhelming. Well, but so you were like, okay, so we sat, we kind of like closed our eyes, grounded, took a breath, and you were like, okay, ask spirit to show you what a female feels like. So I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna feel anything. Like, I don't know. And then it was like this wind, and it came in on my right side. And I'm like, what is that? And then you're like, okay, ask them what a male feels like. And then it was like, and it came behind me on my left side. Like they were teaching me positions.
Yeah.
And then there was a child, and then there was a pet. And I was like, what is this? Like I was feeling things with my physical body. And it was amazing. So that was my very first conscious awareness of what I was doing, I guess, where it
Yeah.
clicked.
Yeah.
Because I was doing some amazing things without realizing. Like this one class I took, it was a mediumship class. Again, it didn't click like what I was doing. And there was
Right.
a photograph of a man, and I don't want to get too far into it, but like he was persistent in staying in a certain area. And without knowing what I was doing, I was able to, tap into him and feel him and cross cross him over, which
Cross
like
them
which is a
over.
whole nother story. But like
Right.
like you're doing these things that you don't even know that you're doing. So that was the first where, like, when you say your realization with spirit and what a medium is, to me the medium is somebody who's just consciously aware of these other senses,
Hmm.
right? So we're
Hmm.
all mediums. So I have a hard time when people say you're a medium, and I'm like, well, yeah, so are
Yeah, but
you,
so
but
are you. Yeah,
so are you.
exactly.
But you're consciously, I'm a consciously aware medium, I guess is,
Exactly. There, that's a perfect
I
way
have
of
a hard
saying it.
time.
I think it was so great. Like, I love how you said, it's like the realization is like, here you are in this program and you started this training and you actually came with me on a 5-day mediumship retreat. And you walk in for this week where you're coming in and it was just, it reminded me so much. And I mean, we have a lot of parallels in our story. It reminded me so much of taking my first training as well. When I did my first certification in Theta, I remember sitting in the room looking around me going, what am I doing here? How did I get here? What the heck is this all about? It's almost like I had no really awareness to what I had signed up for. And it was just, again, that following and trusting the guidance or what my heart was really where it was directing and guiding, so I think I really resonated. I just remember we did a whole day afternoon where, or even just a couple hours, where we did go on a little bit of a ghost hunt, and we were crossing over a lot of souls that were bound and having challenges, and I remember the face, like your face was just priceless. Like you're like, this is like really cool. I can't believe what we're doing. Are we really doing this? Is this really what's happening? But it's like this is really happening. Like there was this whole sense of, I would say, of realization of something that took place for you in recognizing that, wow, this is something I've been tuned in and tapped in the whole time and haven't even been able to identify it. But it's the very thing and my very reason for being. Like it was just so fun to watch that unfold for you. It was just so great, so great.
I
So,
wasn't gonna bring that up, but since you did, it was as I wasn't gonna bring that story up because that
oh,
can
but
be
it's a good story.
an overwhelming story for people that are a little bit nervous. And let me tell you, it was overwhelming and I was nervous, but I loved it at the same time. But I remember you saying, because we had to feel like, okay, again, we had to feel like these areas in the room. We'll just call them portals.
Yeah.
We had to find them. And you're like, well, I think this is what it is. I don't know. And we're all in different parts. We're all sensing different things. And then Bonnie goes, let me show you my party trick. And I'm like, what? Because you can't deny when there's physical evidence that happens that's proving. So she comes up to, she's walking and she's talking normal. And as she gets closer to where I perceive a portal and other people did, her voice changes. Like not changes. It's like she goes in a hole underwater. Like you can't make that up. You
Yeah.
couldn't change. It was like she went into a little zone. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like it was physical
I can step
evidence proof
step into it and step out of it. It's my party trick. I always like to take,
party trick.
it really is. It freaks my husband is just like amazed by it, right? He's just like, and so even I had the level 2 launch retreat a couple of weeks ago, and of course we did that there too. And it's just like you can't, like it just allows for a this not a manifestation, but it's like confirming or this validation that takes place over something that has been maybe sensed or felt, but let you kind of remained a little bit unsure about it. And it just is, again, how the energy affects me and how I find the hot spots, so to speak, of where these openings to the other world are located. So yeah, it's really kind of a fun thing. And
I
I
thought you
just
were I thought you were the coolest person on earth. I'm like, she is so
think
cool. She's my her party trick.
tell people you're hanging out with me. It is gonna get weird. It is gonna get weird,
Hey, it's
guarantee.
gonna get weird. I don't want to be bored.
Exactly. So, with you coming forward and this realization of being able to like now put a label, or you had some kind of idea as to what was taking place for you, was it something that you could easily accept, or that other people around you easily accepted, Angel? Or did you what was that transition like for you? Transition, that's a kind of a funny word to use as a
Well,
medium.
at that time, like I believe people are strategically placed in your life for a certain purpose. And at that time, I was in a relationship with a very grounded person who was able to keep me grounded and talk me through my fears. Like I had a little incident that weekend with maybe a ghost being in my room for the first
Maybe,
time.
just maybe a ghost hanging out with you.
And I was like, who do I call? I can't call the front desk. What the hell are they gonna do? So so I had somebody to talk to at that time, and I
Yes.
see now the purpose in that relationship. It was very grounding and safe, and he helped me work through a lot of my fears. Other than that, after that weekend, I couldn't help but tell some people because I was so excited. But I'm just such an authentic person. Like people couldn't deny that what I was saying like really happens. Like I think because I'm pretty private, and if I say something, like I really mean it. Like I was really excited. But other than that, like my circle's really small. So if people were talking about me behind my back, I would have no clue about it. I don't know. My family, like I don't even know if they're on tonight. Like I'm kind of private. I tell them, but I
Right.
don't go out of my way to tell them. My family that's left is that I know are really small. I don't hide it. I've kind of mentioned a few things to my dad and to my one sister, but they're a little bit unsure. So I say it, but I don't like push it or anything. I'm not
Right.
hiding it.
Right.
Other than that, in my circle in my life right now, honestly, everybody I know is a medium or a healer or they've had things happen. Like there's
Right.
honestly, I don't feel that unique or like
Mhm.
I honestly, everybody I
Right.
know is some sort of tapped in, tuned in medium in my circle. They have incidences that have happened. So
Right, right. And I think that's the beauty of it too. It's like this, there can be this fear of coming forward or this, not really feeling worried about people not accepting this part of you, etc. And yet it's so amazing how we're always placed with the people who do accept us. And yeah, there's going to be people who are naysayers and who are going to be talking, but when it comes to it, we're always positioned with exactly the people we need to feel loved, to be supported. We find our community and again, it's like I think of it too. It's like these are like normal conversations in my world. Like
this
these
is
are, like and if I meet people where it's not, well, I'm cordial and kind and respectful, but it's just, there's no judgment in how they're living their life. And this is something too that, I feel an impulse to share with people when I feel called to do so. And there's times when, I just kind of honor them and don't say anything at all. And I think we really can judge that energetically as to when it's, where it is we can fully express and where it is that we just need to honor people because our beliefs aren't aligned, right? It was interesting because I have I was have a neighbor here, and my neighbor, I was getting on the elevator the other day, and I just closed the elevator doors, and they closed and then they opened, and it took a moment for somebody to come on the elevator, and all of a sudden my neighbor steps on the elevator. And I was like, oh, I said, okay, wow. I said, I was surprised. She said, oh yeah. She said, yeah, I'm the fourth floor, the ghost of the fourth floor. And we kind of chuckled, and the elevator closed. And she goes, no, seriously, there is a ghost here on the fourth floor. Do you know that? Like she's like, and she doesn't know I'm a medium. She doesn't anything, right? It's just like, and then she goes, I don't know why I told you that. I can't believe I just told you that. And I went, oh, no, it's okay, honey, because I understand that. And I said, I know exactly what you're talking about. She said, oh, good, because I thought for a moment you were going to think I was crazy. And then the elevator's door was open and she left. Right? It was just the funniest exchange that took place right there. But it's amazing how we find each other and how we're able to just find once we can fully accept who we are and we accept this part of ourselves in the wholeness of who we are, it's amazing how easy it is to see and to be accepted in the world around us as well. Yeah, so good. Now, you've done a lot of readings, and you've had, of course, a lot of different experiences, of course, in your both personally and professionally. But is there something for you, a story that you can share with everyone that really solidified your belief in life after death? Something that just said, there is no possible way that this is not real.
oh my gosh, I have so many stories. I have a funny little story I could tell briefly. Okay, I have three. I'm going to try to squeeze them in. So I
Okay.
have a funny little story, like this one reading. I was like, and I have a duck here, a duck, and it looks like a duck. A duck's gonna come through. I'm like, to giving bringing all these people. I'm like, I have a duck, and it looks like on the commercials where you're cleaning it and you got the soap, and she's like, yeah, I did that for a duck. I'm like, wow, the duck is here, and it just wants to say thank you for cleaning it off. Like
Aw,
those random things that you just I know it was
aw,
you can't make them up. Like animal, come on, people,
oh,
animals come through all the time and they're so
yes.
soft and they're so sweet. Um Another little story that I have, like, because this is like more like, again, you can't deny physical evidence, right?
Right.
So
Yes.
I think it was level two. I think it was level two with you, and it was the launch, and we were in circle, and we were kind of practicing doing readings for each other right off the get go. And I sat down to do a reading for somebody, and I had just been thinking about orbs. I'm like, well, what is an orb? And I swear it's like, well, let's show her what an orb is, like she's questioning. So I'm giving this heartfelt reading to a lady. I bring her husband across, And I'm saying all these fluffy, lovely things and just, just saying what came or whatever. And she's looking at me and I'm thinking she's really paying attention, but she's looking at me and she's like, I'm sorry, Angel. I didn't hear much of what you're saying. Because as I'm looking at you, like the lights around you, she's like, I can't describe it. Can I take your picture? And I was like, I hate getting my picture taken. And I'm like, well, okay. Like I didn't think much of it. So like
Right.
I'm nervous, shy. I'm like, take my picture, smile, dorky, or whatever I do. And then she posted it later. Like I think, do you remember? She posted
Yes.
it later to the group. It's not edited. Like the light, and you were just so nonchalant. You're like, yeah, it's just an orb, but and I'm like, your mind blows. It's like, I was just a Zoom. It's like a picture on a computer of me in Zoom. It came, it left. It's like, I have it here, but like, it might be hard to see. Like you can't deny
Yeah.
physical evidence.
Yes,
That's
exactly. Right.
yeah, that's one story. I have so many. Maybe I'll, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
and I think, and those are the stories that, they're just such treasure because, there's just so many instances that begin to play out that just continue to confirm the connection, continue to confirm this is real. Things that, again, like the duck, like seriously, like, like where do you come up with that? Like you can't even try to make up that stuff on your own. Like to have the most random experiences and things that do not even seem to make any sense in the world around us, even in our world. It's not like you're out and you were out on a helping all of the ducks that were, from an oil spill or anything like that, that you even have a bias of it. Like there's nothing there where you live. And so for that to come forward and through, and I remember, I have a similar story about penguins. And there too, it's like I'm not living anywhere near penguins, like they're not in my world. I don't live in the Arctic. Like I have no concept or relationship to penguins. And yet in a reading, it was like the same thing. The penguins, the parrots, the fur babies, the mice, like even little hamsters and things that come through in a session because they were somebody that
that was
somebody
cared
loved.
for, that was cared
Yes.
for. And then,
Yeah.
like, even despite all this flippant evidence, as human beings, like, we still fall into doubt. And I'm like,
Right?
I can't do that again. So at least I have this lousy picture, this amazing picture to
Yes.
look at and be like, well, that did happen because I have
Yes.
the proof here. You know what I
Exactly.
mean? And I love when I'm able to share these experiences with other people and they see the physical evidence.
Yeah.
Like I have a connection with dimes. I wish it was $100 bills,
Right.
but it's not.
Right.
It's
I know.
dimes. Right?
I'll take the dimes. I'm grateful for the
because
dimes, but
because that's what we'll allow. Like if it was
right.
$100 bills, we wouldn't believe it was going to come, so it would never come. But with dimes,
Right.
there's no resistance, so they're able
Right.
to bring it, and they run with anything that's in your mind. So they know that it's dimes. So I never expect it. So at the most heartfelt times when I'm down on my knees, I'm feeling like insecure. Usually, if I'm trying to talk to my kids, there's always and it always blows my mind and it takes my breath away and it makes me just pause and stop. It's never a nickel, a quarter, a penny, it's a dime. And they
Yes.
place it like in my washing machine. And I shared this story with a girlfriend and she came to me all excited because then she started seeing dimes.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And then just last week, it happens all the time. Just last week, we had a family pet cross and all these emotions going through our head because the cat followed us home. I had this strong urge to let the cat in the house, but I didn't. He
Yeah.
had guilt for the cat coming, like all these emotions
Yes.
you have. He calls me in the morning, oh my god, Angel, the cat's in the middle of the road, like how am I going to tell my 10-year-old daughter?
Aw.
And I'm like, I'll be right there. I'm in my pajamas, like, and I ran there and I didn't want to go. I didn't want to deal with it. I didn't know what to say. I felt guilt. I felt horrible. I just
Yeah.
wanted to console him. I put my hand on his back. We walked 2 feet. He knows the story about my dimes. I look down, pick it up. Here's a dime, honey, for you. Like
Aw.
I want to I'm like, it just shows that you're not so alone. Like it just
Yes.
validates that somebody's acknowledging your little tiny life here on this big earth with all these millions and billions of people, and you are
Yeah.
significant and it matters and your
Yeah.
heart matters. And it's
Yeah.
like a little tiny piece that it just like I went home and I just cried, and I wasn't crying out of sadness. I was crying out
Right.
of humility and of being loved and appreciated, and that I was able to share that with somebody else so that they
Yeah.
can have a little bit of, I'm like, do you want to keep this dime? But I really wanted to keep it because I have a whole
Right.
jar of them that I'm keeping, right?
Nice. Oh my gosh, I love that story. I remember I was helping a girlfriend of mine. She had gone through a divorce as well, and she had sold her house and she was moving communities and she was starting a new job and her new life. And so I was over at her house helping her to do her move out clean. And it was like every room that we went into to clean, where we were wiping down, washing floors, doing baseboards and doors and all that kind of stuff, there were nickels and dimes on every floor. Like it was just in even rooms where we might have found a nickel or dime, when we went back in there for some apparent reason, there was another dime. Like it's just uncanny. You can't, like, again, it's just, you can't make it up. It was there, but it was all the reassuring messages for her that she was making the right decision, that she was
Yeah,
going to be, even financially, she was going to be okay, and that her loved ones were supporting her. So it's just,
absolutely.
being open to it. And of course, just as you did, that humble appreciation. Like the more of what we appreciates us, which means that more and more begins to multiply. And the more that we notice the signs and we have these connections and we rejoice in that, the greater that spirit and our loved ones will continue to make their presence known to us. It's like once we catch on to it, they're like, wow, then let's give, the universe works that way, right? It's like let's give them even more to celebrate and be grateful for. So I think it's so, so beautiful. What was it, Angel, that led you to recognize that you really did want to help other people in doing this work? Like, what was it for you that really kind of defined that it was purpose for you?
Well, I fall into doubt, and I'm like, I must be doing this for a reason. Like I must be having these awarenesses for a reason. And I write some really beautiful things, and they come from some, like there must be some purpose behind them, right?
Yes.
If I can just get over the courage to step up and be willing to be more of service. Because I know, even like with you and working with you, like I say, yes, I'll do it. Yes, but I know energetically I'm flashing a neon sign that says no, 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 right? It's like, damn it. So I just do a little prayer and I'm like, purpose, like, please. I think there's a quote by Charles Virtue actually that says, God, please let my purpose be bigger than my fears. And I just
Yeah.
try to repeat that.
Yes.
But honestly, like I feel depressed at the thought of not doing it. So
Mhm.
that too helps propel me forward, because I try to kind of not do it, but then I almost fall into depression. Like if
Yes.
I'm not learning and expanding in the spiritual way, yeah, I feel depressed. So
Yeah.
it's like I have to be doing some sort of connection in some way.
Yes. Yes. And that is something that's common for so many mediums, that when we look at one, we're always hanging out, so to speak, with the energy of grief and loss and sadness and sorrow. It's a part of something we're naturally tapped into because we connect with the non-physical world. But on the flip side of it, if we are not expressing, not sharing these messages, not engaging in some way, then what we're receiving gets almost depressed inside of us. And it's like we're suppressing it, we're holding it in. And I would say that the greatest challenge for any medium is not having a place to deliver what it is we're receiving, to not be share a message, whether it's through writing, through art, whatever. Being able to express this part of ourselves is necessary for our we can say our psychological well-being, our emotional well-being. If not, it's like I even know for myself the times when I was probably when I was most depressed in my life. Yes, there were other factors that were a part of it, but for me, it was also because I wasn't expressing fully, this part of who I am. I was holding it back. I was denying it. I pretended it away. I was, keeping it under wraps. And I find that even when I go on vacation or I take some days off or anything like that, it's like I have really like really great vibe and I'm moving forward and things are great. And then all of a sudden, I'm not connecting. I'm not helping people. I'm not doing this work. I'm not focused in some way. And I can feel myself begin to slide. It's like I get really lethargic and a little bit sad and a little bit, right? You can just feel. And then as soon as I get back into work again, and I say work, but it's just like showing up and sharing this with other people. When I'm able to do this, it truly is what lights me up and helps me to know a lot of joy in my life. So I know exactly what you're saying. What do there's a lot of mediums that are tuning into this series that are contemplating development, that maybe have been in a lot of fear and uncertainty in terms of exposing this part of themselves or moving forward in some way within their mediumistic abilities. What do you have as words of advice to share with them, Angel, to kind of help to support them in taking that step?
Like in taking their mediumship classes, you mean? Or
Taking their classes, stepping out into the world and doing this work, or even just sharing with people, like sharing this part of themselves with people.
well, yeah, see that I don't fully understand because like I mean your mediumship is just a part of who you are, right? Like it's I mean I'm a dental hygienist and I don't go around and broadcast I'm a dental hygienist. Like I just there's some people that are scared of teeth and they don't want to.
Yes, they don't like the dentist.
They
My
don't like
husband
to talk
avoids the
about it.
dentist. Yeah, I know. I personally love
So
the dentist, but yes, I know there are those people.
so like to me it kind of parallels mediumship. Like there's some people that don't want to go there. So like I was saying, like I'm a dental hygienist, and if you want to come see me for your oral health needs, you come and see me. Well, I can also be a medium and I can, you know, broadcast that or put that out there. And if you want to come see me for those needs, then I am here.
Yeah,
I think stepping out, like I said, everybody I know is a medium. Like there's a shift in consciousness. There's a desire in there. There's a global desire. There's an outcry, and like it's heard. And so there's a shift, and so many people are looking that we're just evolving, and we're able to like everybody can tell when they walk into a room and they don't feel good, or they're across from somebody who's saying something, but it just doesn't feel like it's integral to how they are as a being. Um, so I like Reiki used to be so weird. I
yeah,
remember when I first heard of Reiki and I didn't know what it was, and the boss at the time was kind of teasing the girl, saying, "Ooh, like doing that weird." Well, now it's like commonplace. Like you go for a massage and they're done the massage, and then they're like, "Okay, would you like a little Reiki with that?" Like it's
right.
just so stepping out of the closet now. It's not such a scary thing. I'm almost get to be honest, I get overwhelmed with it. Like I'm scrolling, there's another medium, there's another healing class. And makes me feel like I want to be more authentic. Like I just, like
Yes,
I see it everywhere. And to be
yes.
honest, I want to just shut it off for a while and just watch, a cheesy show on Netflix because I don't want to talk about spirituality. Like coming out of the closet, like I don't think anybody's shocked anymore if they say they're a medium. You
Mhm.
turn on Netflix and there's so many ghost stories and there's so many mediums on there channeling, and with celebrities are going and getting like so I
Yes.
don't even think it's is it even an issue anymore? Like is it
It
even
honestly is
really?
still an issue for a lot of people. It
Okay.
is. It can be something where there's just a lot of insecurity. It's a lot of fear, and it's not necessarily, even though we're seeing more of a global awareness it's becoming more mainstream and it's becoming more acceptable. There's still within different cultures and families and associations where this is very foupoi. Like it's like no, you
Well,
don't
you're
go
right.
there.
You're right. So in my little bubble, in my little world, with my little circle, it doesn't exist. But I could definitely see from religious beliefs and all those aspects how you could go there. But I tell you, like, I have people that, yeah, like they doubt and are you channeling evil beings? And you just have to, like, I just, like, I fall into my heart and I'm like, my intention is so good. And this feels so good. And it seems to bring so much peace and so much healing. And the person is able to forgive and move on with their life and they're passionate and they're laughing. I don't know how this can be bad. And that's all
Right?
I can say. That's all
Exactly.
I can say. I don't know anybody else. I can't, to be honest, I can't trust anybody else. We're human beings. I can just trust myself and know what my intentions are, and that's all I can, that's all you can do. That's all you
Yeah,
can do.
yeah.
So I don't know how you could suppress it. Like I could see, you know, the religious beliefs, the fears and stuff, but let me tell you, the healing that transpires with mediumship.
Mhm.
I mean, sure, there's
Mhm.
people struggling. You have to keep in mind, some mediums, they're trying,
Mhm.
and their ego gets in the way and they're trying, but the healing that can come from it is
Mhm.
out of this world.
I know, right? It truly is. Oh my gosh. I remember I had a conversation with an aunt of mine, and my aunt and my uncle are very involved with the church, and that's their journey in this lifetime, and that's, I have no judgment over that. I remember her saying to me one day, to like, how are you sure, Bonnie, that it's not just the devil who's manipulating you as you're doing this, And I just looked at her and I said, you know what, Auntie? I said, I understand why you would be afraid in that way based on some of your perspective or understanding of this. I said, however, just let's simplify it. I said, I know we don't know each other all that well. And she said, that's true. I know who you are, but it's not like we were super close and really interconnected within our family connection. And I said, but you know me well enough, and I think that you know yourself well enough to tell the difference between love and hate. And she said, yes. I said, well, I can too. I can tell the difference. There's something you can tell when it's loving, it's benevolent, and when it's transforming people's lives and they're going from a place of suffering and hurting and to a place where they're reclaiming life and they're finding their faith and they're knowing more joy in their life than ever before. Yeah, that can't be bad.
And
Yeah.
I think too, like, just having your awareness in the other realms, it's having more awareness and forgiveness in yourself. Like, you
Mhm.
just, then you really start to look in the mirror and you start to look at all the parts of yourself and all the dark sides and all the sides
Mhm.
that you think are bad, are taboo, but they're really not. Like, it almost helps me to be able to be more of a human being and enjoy all the parts of my physical parts. Because damn it, a lot of people that come across, they're like, just eat the bread and butter. Would you eat the
Right.
bread and butter? Would you eat the chocolate? Would you have the glass of wine? Would you go make out with your boyfriend? Because you're supposed to do these things, because we're so like shamed and guilty. And so it's allowed me to be more free in just loving all parts of all my good
Yes.
sides, my bad sides, having compassion on it, observing it. So it just opens everything up.
Oh my gosh, so beautiful, beautifully said. Again, we have a lot of people who are tuning into this event, Angel, who are using this as an opportunity to learn more about life after death, helping in terms of reconciling the loss of their loved ones and struggling to reclaim a sense of peace in their life after a death. What do you have to say to those people who are dealing with the loss of a loved one right now?
This was hard for me to think about this, because you are here, and even though they're close, they are there. Like, they're not here. Like, I miss my mom more now than when she crossed. I have these little kids. I could sure use her help. I could sure use your help here, mom. Like, like,
Yeah.
there's been a lot of crappy things happening. Can you take the kids for the weekend? Like, I'm a little pissed off. She made some lousy choices and I could really use her here, right?
Right. Yes.
Having said that, I'll tell you, I'm gonna a little story about what mediumship, I think, what it does. So, three little kids. So this is a year ago or so. I was like really on my own, not in a relationship at all. The three little kids, you're trying to juggle it all. You're exhausted. You're balancing everything. You're trying to say the right things to the kids, make all their needs met. Going to work, you're tired, making the lunches, it's midnight, you're mad, you're grumpy, you're swearing, you're wishing you weren't swearing, all those things. And I have this little budgie, and about once a year, she gets out of her cage. And I knew she was going to get out of her cage. And sure enough, she's out of her cage. So then all this crap is happening. And then the damn budgie's flying around. I can't get her into the cage, and so I go to bed and I leave it. And anyway, long story short, we're doing this little exercise. It might have been, I can't remember what level it was. I think it was level 2 with you. And we're practicing doing readings. And, I'm trying to help them. They're trying to validate who they have. And I'm like, yeah, I think you have my grandfather. And she's given me some evidential pieces that, yep, it's my grandfather. And she's like, and then now he's laughing. He's laughing at you. And there's this bird flying around the house. She's like, I don't know what this means. So let me just tell you. So it's a little bit harder to grieve when you're living your life and a mediumship person can come through and your grandfather is right there still living your life with you,
Yeah.
understanding how you're feeling and laughing at you as that bird's running around. Like, so I'm having a crappy day, I'm grieving, I'm missing my grandpa, but he's right there.
Right
He's right
there.
there in my life. In fact, he's closer than ever. He knows,
Right.
he has no ego, so he can tell how I'm feeling. He knows what impressions he gave on me, how he helped me. He knows how chaotic I feel in my life. And he came across, laughed at me and said, that damn bird flying around your house, huh, Angel? So then, like, so here you are feeling
Yeah.
all sorry for yourself, grieving. Well, it's
Mm.
kind of a little harder to grieve when they're right there
Yeah, they
beside you,
are.
closer than ever. They're right there.
Yeah.
They're living your life alongside with you.
That's beautiful. And that's exactly it. They are living right alongside us. The physical and non-physical world exist simultaneously, which means that we're right beside each other, even though we feel that we're far away. Our physical body creates this sense of separation for us, but yet they're right there. They're watching the bird fly around the house. They're watching you swear and get mad over everything that's playing out. You're tired, you're exhausted. And there's grandpa laughing and bringing joy into your life and a part
Having
of your
said
life, you know?
having said that though, they aren't, you can't hug them and touch them and share your life with them.
Exactly. Yes.
So I
It
think
is the
there's
physical presence.
you honestly just
Yeah.
have to honor that. You have to honor like what you're feeling, what you've lost, the memories in the past, how your future looks now, what you thought your future was going to be like. Like you really have to understand what exactly you're grieving and sit with it and feel it. And then you have to decide. You have to decide that morning if you just want to be sad. Like you have to understand what your choices are and just and then it's okay just to be sad that day, like just understanding exactly why you're grieving. Because even though as a medium, and I know they're right there, like for sure, like I said, sometimes I'm mad
Mhm.
she's not here
Yes.
beside me.
Yes. And like you
So
said, to have that physical hug, to have that conversation, like what you and I are having a conversation, we miss our loved ones in that deep, deep sense. But it's also, as I love how you said that permission to be sad. And I think it also, it's important to also say to people, you have permission to be happy again too. Some people feel guilty because somebody has died. Well, I can't be happy because they're not here and they died. And, but we don't need to live that fact. Our loved ones want us to be happy again. So,
absolutely.
it's yes, we need to feel, we need to grieve, we need to honor the process, and we also have permission to be happy and enjoy our life again too. A lot of people feel guilty after death for laughing. For laughing and finding humor in life. And yet, that's what your loved ones want for you. They
Mhm.
want that for you more than anything.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
many
so great.
messages are just messages of encouragement. It's like
Mhm.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So beautiful. All right. So oh my gosh. It's so quick how fast, like it just boom, fast the hour goes here. I'm going to go over into the chat and just take your questions, look at some comments here. If anybody has anything for Angel and I. Shauna, I'm so glad Shauna's saying how much she's loving the experience of this. I know it's so great, right? Everybody's stories, everybody, how they come into their talents and how purpose finds them. It's so incredible. Hi, Faith, Eleanor, Val, awesome. Brenda, Sandra, hello. Faith is saying, Angel, you look perfect. Gail says,
No.
Angel, you are bringing the fun. It's all good. Brenda's saying, you're beautiful, Angel, inside and out. Faith is like, Angel, oh my gosh, you are so adorable. She is. I know. She's got a great vibe. I love this. Veronica, I think this is wonderful too. She says that doing portals, like closing portals and crossing spirit over in a group seems less daunting. Yeah, you know what? I agree. That there is when we're doing it on our own, we can sometimes feel very overwhelmed by the experiences that we're having in those moments. And so it can feel very daunting. And so, yeah, being able to do it as a group, having two or three people, or, even more sometimes, depending on the size of the classes when we do this, especially as we move through the level 2 program, we really, look to really become empowered in doing this. And the more empowered that you become, it's like it's wonderful to do it in a group, but you can be just as potent and powerful on your own when you've got the approach and the tools, and you're able to just kind of do this in I don't know, in a sense of safety and security in doing this work as well. So yeah, it is, but it is definitely less daunting. It's a lot of fun. It can be a lot of fun. What about would you say to that? Because I know, Angel, obviously you've done the group work, you've done it on individual basis. Like, do you
I
feel
have
like,
lots to say. I have tons to say about that. That was like my biggest fear. Like,
mhm,
don't like I'm glad my family shows me dimes and they're not like slamming doors and stuff. Like, no, thank you. I don't want
right,
that. I don't want that happening at my house.
right,
But when we did it in level two, I think it was level two, we did it.
yeah,
And you broke it all down. Like
yeah,
you taught us how to break it all down. Because if you look at all the crazy chaos that's happening in the house, or in the situation, whatever it be, it's pretty overwhelming. But when you break it down and you do it step by step, I honestly didn't see anything bad in the whole
right,
circumstance that this person was going through. I saw
yeah,
only purpose. I saw his loved ones there in support. The dark person that he was scared of, I actually cried for this person
yeah,
because, and I believe he that helped transform this being
yes,
because he had such purpose. Like this person, in my opinion, had been depressed and suicidal and may have even have taken his own life had these circumstances not been happening. But he
right,
was too scared to take his own life because of the circumstances, because he's like,
yeah,
oh my God, now there's more after death. I can't get away from this. And he couldn't get
right,
away from it. He had to face whatever he was facing, and that was the purpose. And it just brought light, and his loved ones were there the whole time. So
yeah.
it can seem daunting, overwhelming, but honestly, when you broke it all down, there was absolutely nothing scary about it.
Yeah,
Nothing.
right. And you just
It
take
was
it
beautiful.
one at a time, and you realize, like you said, they're just that these individuals who are haunting or who are earthbound, they're just looking for some help. And mediums can be that way that they're able to find their way home again too. So it's, yeah, it creates it more of breaking it down so that we're just honoring the process, honoring ourselves, but honoring those in spirit that are struggling as well. So yeah, it's kind of cool. It, like Angel said, it was like one of the things she feared the most. And I know I've had people coming through where they're like, oh my God, I can't believe we're having to do the things you're asking us to do. And then we finish and wrap up those modules and they're like, oh my gosh, I want to keep doing that for people. That was so fun. Because you realize there's nothing to be afraid of. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yes, Faith, Val, exactly. There is an absolute difference between the energy of love and the energy of hate. And we are intellectual enough in order to understand the difference, and we can feel and sense the difference as well. We know when something feels off, and it's about trusting that for ourselves. We're like, this doesn't feel good, this feels off, this doesn't feel true, or it feels of low vibration. It's about trusting our internal guidance system, trusting the energy speaks before we know any word is ever spoken. And so we just begin to tune into the energy, and you can tell the difference between love and what is encouragement and what is for the betterment of someone's life, right? And so it's again, as Angel said, it's like trusting yourself. Trust yourself to know. Trust yourself. You've only got yourself, right? And so just fall into deep, deep trust with yourself. So great. So Sandra saying, really good advice. She says, I just don't have a lot of support from my husband. Do you want to speak a little bit about that, Angel?
I have so much to say.
So do I.
I could totally understand that. I believe all our relationships, thank God we're there to learn from each other and to push each other. And so there's a lot of good in that relationship. You're definitely still pushing each other to learn and to grow. And obviously you stir up a lot of, I would say, fears and things that are uncomfortable for him to deal with. If it doesn't come from you, he's still going to end up facing it somewhere else. It's something he has to learn and grow and deal with. I think having said that, you can share some things. Of course, like you're open and honest, but kind of like the other advice, you don't have to broadcast every little thing that you're doing. you could be doing things on your own while being open, not secretive, but not having to share everything, like respecting kind of his limits and what he's uncomfortable. I know my, one of my recent relationship, when we first met, the synchronicities were mind blowing, and I was loving every second of it, thinking he was loving every second of it too.
Yeah.
But he was having like a spiritual crisis, and having all these fears brought up, because it was like, what is happening? Why are all these weird, crazy things happening? So it's understanding where everybody's come, and you might be up here, especially as you're growing and evolving, and in that aspect he might be at a different level. I don't know, Bonnie, does that make
Mhm.
sense? Is that
Absolutely, it does. And I think that, as you said, just honoring where he's at, but more importantly, honoring where you're at, Sandra. And I can speak to this, like when I started to come forward, even in terms of my healing journey, even in terms of doing the deep trauma work and things that I did in helping me to know my well-being again, even as the spirit world started to become louder than ever before, it wasn't something that I expressed to my husband. In fact, I did a lot of my spiritual practices, a lot of my work, so to speak, even as a medium. I kept it really sacred. It was something that I needed to do for myself first. I needed to get a handle on it. I needed to learn everything I could possibly learn. I needed to feel safe and secure in what was taking place for me. And I actually not it was out of a loving intention. It wasn't about hiding anything from him. It was about loving intention, because I couldn't make him or help to make him feel comfortable about things if I still wasn't comfortable within it first. So for me, this was about me finding my awareness, my understanding, for me to become more safe and secure in what I was doing, and then I was able to begin to open up and share a little bit more with him. My marriage, though, did hit a crisis when I was leaving my old, I always call it my old job, to move forward into this one, and crisis in the fact where I had to really speak to him about what I believed and what I felt deep inside of me that I needed to do. And so it was a challenge for us, because who it's like, when he married me, I was like this one person. And then I go through my spiritual awakening and I come fully into myself. And all of a sudden, I'm still the same person, but there's so much different about me that he didn't even recognize or even know how he fit into my life anymore. And so we came to this point of crisis within the marriage, where I just had to simply say to him, like, I know that you don't understand, and I'm okay with that, but you need to be okay with the fact that I do believe in angels and I do talk to dead people. And this is a part of who I am. And I said to him very openly, I said, maybe we've reached the point in our marriage where, we've completed everything we were supposed to complete with each other, and maybe this is it for us. But regardless, I know deep down inside of myself that I can no longer deny or hide or hold back this part of me. I feel like there's something bigger here going on, that God has a bigger plan for me. And so it's a very important conversation. He, of course, I mean, we are still together, so I mean, he didn't run the other direction, but we've had different times in there where there's just some times where, he's never going, I've just made peace with the fact that he's never going to have the same degree of understanding that I have within this. But I also don't try to force him or try to prove anything to him either. It's just like we can truly just love each other, and I respect him for where he is, but I definitely don't try to push him towards anything. And we've grown together. And the thing is, it's happening for him through osmosis. I mean, he's living with me. I mean, he can't help but begin to awaken and transform, right? But it's nothing I've ever pushed on him either. But I think this is about really having open and honest communication. And that's to understand that as mediums, the more that we can have open and honest and heartfelt conversation in our day-to-day life, the easier it allows for us to communicate with the other side, because we're no longer holding back. It's no longer creating an obstruction in the filter between the physical and non-physical world. Yeah, so I get it. And I feel you in that because my husband really he didn't understand it. He didn't support it. And more importantly, I think in some way, he was afraid of what other people were going to say or think about it as well. Right. He was like, felt really protective in it as well. So yeah, I get it. And it makes it challenging, but I just continue to say, just honor yourself in doing what you need to do for you. Get really secure in yourself, understanding what's going on for you, and then let this unfold too. It's amazing how the spirit world and how the angels work in helping us to move forward on this journey, but they also help those who we share our lives with as well. Okay. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Faith is asking, Angel, is it possible to reach through the veil?
Reach through the veil. Well, so isn't that all that we're doing? Like I
Yeah.
guess I don't understand exactly what her question is. So,
Yeah.
I mean, we have our five physical senses. So when you're reaching through the veil, you're just expanding from there.
Mhm.
Um,
So
like
yeah,
that's
it's exactly it. It's our sensory and our ability to receive through the veil. So as mediums, everything is vibration, and so as we raise our vibration, we have a high vibration anyway. So we have a high energy frequency, and as a high energy frequency, it makes it possible for us to reach through the veil, so to speak, which means we're able to communicate between that veil. And the veil is about a congestion of energy. That's really what it is. The veil actually doesn't exist in the scope of universal understanding, but it is something that was created in order for one, so that we would have our separation from the physical and non-physical world to give us our human experience. Our belief systems, the fears, the everything intertwined within the collective consciousness that is within the unhealthy collective of what the belief systems and fears associated with this, all of that creates or adds congestion to the veil. So the
What
veil
had?
is
Sorry, what?
very. Oh, somebody's microphone is on.
It's got to be done soon here.
Somebody's microphone is on. I'm not sure who it is. So if you can please make sure your microphones are muted, that would be greatly appreciated. Thank you very much. Where we look at the congestion, and we as mediums have the ability through our practices to begin to move through or pull back the curtain, so to speak, in order to reach the other side. We can pull back the veil in order to communicate. The key here, though, is that we need to look at doing our due diligence in this faith to begin to heal the things we need to heal in order to basically help to clean out that congestion of the veil, so it becomes easier for us to connect between the physical and non-physical worlds. Basically, we want to take what is like a toxic energy, so to speak, and what's toxic within that energy, and we want to clean it out so it becomes easier for there to be flow and communication between worlds.
I just wanted to add, like, sorry, I was having a hard time understanding that conversation, but
Mhm.
I would just want to add by starting really simple and like by just going about your day and trying to pay attention to how you feel with different people. Like, so when I go to work and I'm working beside one coworker, I kind of feel one way. When I'm going to work and I work with another coworker, I kind of feel, so you start to feel kind of like the energy around you, or with my kids when they come into the room, or when you walk into a room and how you feel in different, like just start to pay attention, and start to reach those senses out there. And as you start
Mhm.
observing, you start then expanding.
Yeah. And those are the very things, as you expand, what she's saying is you expand, it's the very thing that makes it possible to reach through the veil, to be able to pull the curtain back and receive that communication from the other side. Yeah, great question, Faith. Really great. Oh, good. I'm glad it makes sense. Perfect. Perfect. All right, Gail. Yes, I agree. So wonderful to meet everybody, all the personalities. Oh, you're so welcome. I'm glad that this opportunity has been so helpful for you. Val has a question here before we wrap up tonight, Angel. She's curious, do any of your children have mediumistic gifts? And if yes, how do you work with their experiences?
Well, when she was, yeah, when the one lady was asking about her husband, it made me think of my children and just how I approach it with them as well. Because I've said a little bit of things to them, but I'm a little careful of what I say because they are little beings, and they need to feel safe in their human world. They need to feel safe, they need to feel grounded, and they need to slowly start experiencing these things on their own. Yes, I would like to say that they're sensitive. They know that I'm a medium, but again, I speak of some things strongly that I believe in, but other things I don't, because when their mom starts saying, I believe in ghosts and I believe in angels and I talk to dead people, like that's pretty scary for a little child to hear, because that's their mom who they trust saying that ghosts are real. Like that's a pretty big mind-blowing thing for a kid to have said to them. I know my one son, my oldest, would hear things. And at the time, I didn't know anything. He was always hearing things. And he even admitted later, like they have these little conversations. It's cute. And he even admitted later that he used to hear things, but he shut that off because he didn't want people to think he's crazy. My one son, my middle one, he's woken up in the night kind of paralyzed in his sleep, and he said he calls them dark people, shadow being, like he's fearful. So again, I'm really careful of saying too much because I'm their mom and I'm safety and I want to be rooted and grounded. I say enough that I don't hide what I do, and I try to bring up the beautiful things, and that, when they talk about death and what I think about death and what I believe in, and things that I think that will bring them comfort. And I'm exactly what I said before. Like I just kind of say, well, how do you feel around that people? And I try to just get them to be more aware of themselves and how they feel. Or sometimes I'll be like, are you sure you're feeling yourself and you're not feeling somebody else's feelings? I try to just bring up those little things because I'll kind of pick up that maybe they're feeling something that's not them. Or I'll say a funny story. Like once, like I've got lots of them, but I come upstairs and all of a sudden I'm craving popcorn. Why am I craving popcorn? And then there is my one son. He's reaching in the popcorn and he's making popcorn in the microwave. And I'm like, am I craving the flipping popcorn or are you craving the popcorn? You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah.
Like, you gotta make light of it too, because
Yeah.
you don't realize how impactful you are on one another. So that's why
Yes.
I'm like, be mindful of your surroundings and what you're feeling and what's even yours, because it
Yeah.
might not even
Yeah.
be yours.
Yeah, so great, so great. I know, Val, for me too, again, having sensitive children, definitely, as Angel said, I waited until they came to me about their experiences. So I never, disclosed anything about what my experiences. I never shared any stories. I never talked about angels. I never talked about spirit. It was just not something that I did until they started coming to me with their experiences. And as they came to me with my experiences, one of the things that was so important to me, because as a child, I was always told that the devil had a hold of me. I couldn't say the things I was saying because people would think I was crazy. I was always being shushed about this stuff. I didn't want my children growing up to believing that they were crazy or that the devil was at play or anything like at all. So I always gave them opportunity to share with me without making them wrong about anything that they experienced. I just allowed for there to be where they felt safe in having the discussion with me, and I would just listen out of curiosity and not try to make any conclusions about what they were experiencing. So that was one of the first things that I did with them. And then when sometimes there would be more chaotic experiences, so just like Angel's son said, tells her that he sees the shadow people. My son, when he was little, he used to see people but they didn't have any faces, so he could describe what they were wearing and everything like that, but they had no face. And because they had no face, that was very scary for him, and he was very young when that was taking place. So in that is where, I just said to him, I said, I said, can mommy just wants to tell you about this angel that works for God and that helps me all the time. Do you want to learn about this angel? And of course, he said yes. He was curious about it, and so I introduced him to Archangel Michael, and I talked about him, and talked about his sword and his shield, and he goes, "Oh yeah, I've seen that guy, Mom." Like, so it was so great because it was familiar to him as well. And so even though he was having scary experiences, he was also aware of the angel that was present with him and protecting him as well. So, just let them share their experiences without making conclusions or making them wrong about anything. And just, I always asked, My kids too. So what do you need? What do you need mom to do? And so finding out what they needed me to do, I need you just to cuddle me. I need you to say a prayer with me. I need you to get me a glass of water, whatever it was. It was just like, what do you need? It was like, what do they need in order to feel better about the experience they just had? And I just worked with them that way, and it just opened up that on open communication where, as Angel said too, I was their mom. They needed to feel safe in what they were experiencing and in their home. And in their home. Oh my gosh, Angel, thank you a million times over for being a part of tonight's conversation. I'm so glad you were able to make this work in your busy world. Oh my goodness, I cannot believe that we are coming to the tail end of things here tomorrow night, where we have Paula Haygarth joining us for our next conversation. Thank you to everyone for being a part of these nightly conversations. It's a big commitment, but I am so committed in doing this work, and it's so great to have you all committed to being here as well. So God bless everybody. Take care, and until we see each other tomorrow night. All right, bye-bye for now.